oh, maybe. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're good. I think we're live.
Yeah, we're live.
Okay, we're good. We're going. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this special stream that Jake here, actually, who is, of course, one of the guests, suggested. And 3W let me know today he actually watched all of season 1 as a rewatch to get prepared for this. I not ask him to do that, but he's like, I watched all season 1.
Yeah, we got the overachiever.
Yes. Did you binge it in one day or did you like space it out?
I had to space it out because it was a little too much because of the fact that I can appreciate it more now that I'm an adult. But kid me was like, what the heck am I watching?
That's fair.
Yeah. I want to point this out. I came with the proper hat this time.
Yeah. Thank you.
I stayed with Marvel, so
I stay with Marvel. Yeah. I stay with Metallica. It's M, so it's close.
There you go.
Yeah, so I don't blame you because I remember when I was younger, I remember growing up on the X-Men 90 series, and then I remember on TV, random things would pop up of X-Men Evolution. I'm like, what is this? Like, no. And I was just like, that's not my X-Men.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
Especially the backstories are all different that I've known because I even just when I was watching, I was like, Blob? And I'm like, isn't he a Marine?
Well, not only the backstories, but I think one of the things that was off-putting for me originally was that, while you would look at the designs and you would be able to tell who those X-Men are, some of those designs were just such a departure from especially how the 90s cartoon visualized them.
And I didn't even know that the Kitty Pryde was that her code name was oh my goodness,
Shadowcat.
Shadowcat. I didn't even know they didn't even mention it in the X-Men movies. It was just Kitty Pryde.
I don't think they did. Yeah.
I mean,
and then they actually took and this is one of my other biggest worries when I saw that the new character that they made up for the show, Spyke. I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. But then they clearly felt confident in him because that you see him in X-Men 3 for like 5 minutes. So
he's a bad guy in X-Men 3.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. When someone commented that, I'm like, oh yeah, because there was a guy that had that same powers.
Yeah.
And Wolverine was like slicing it and killed him right then.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird how that works, right? Like they took inspiration and like, oh, let's just throw Spyke in, or a version of Spyke into the worst of the trilogy, and then he doesn't last long, and there's no and we're not even going to try to make it seem he's related to Storm, who's prominent in these movies, and just kill him. Who cares? Well, I mean, we kind of know it's not Spyke, but it was. They definitely got inspired because I mean that show, from what I'm understanding, a lot of people did watch it, and it is their X-Men, or at least that's what they grew up on. It's a certain generation thing. For me, it definitely wasn't. I can appreciate it now because it's trying its own thing. Because I like the fact that it's a mix of the actual adults like Storm and Wolverine, and then you have the kids who are in high school, which is the majority of them, and they're coming into their powers, and they're basically the X-Men, but not to the full extent of actually going out and doing like missions all the time like we know them to do.
And it's kind of the reverse of how they came out in the comics, because you have the first generation who came out in the 60s, and then the people like Wolverine and Storm, Colossus, Nightcrawler, those guys didn't come in until late 70s, early 80s. But now they're kind of flipping that to where Wolverine and Storm are the veterans, and then Cyclops and Jean are kind of the up and comers.
Mm-hmm. So I thought that was interesting because what they did too, and I was really not following at first what was happening, but essentially the X-Men are essentially forming still, because we have Kitty show up episode 2. We have, of course, Nightcrawler in the pilot opening, joining the mansion. Not so much X-Men, but helping with their abilities, and then they go into the X-Men, where Mystique is just like, okay, I'm going to pick up everybody else that they're not taking or that doesn't want to go with them, and we're going to make the version of the Brotherhood. Yeah. And it's like, okay, and then I didn't connect. Now, call me crazy. I did not think her recruiting, like the 4 people that she does, of course, Rogue eventually turns over again, but they're all leading up to where they're going to have to fight each other to determine who's the better mutant to go to, where Magneto was creating this paradise.
Yeah. It didn't really feel like it was building up to that.
No.
And for me, it didn't feel like Rogue was actually fully a bad guy. Like I don't even think she was fully on their side.
No. Not like how Wolverine and the X-Men did it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, literally, it's like Rogue here. She's just all confused because she's like, okay, so I can't touch anybody. My powers, I can't touch anybody. And all of a sudden now I touch this kid, and now I'm having his memories. I'm going to his house. All of a sudden, here's all these X-Men who are actually Mystique and all that. They're coming to attack me. And then now at the end of it, she's like, okay, I'm on your side now. It's like, what?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I kind of got that. I mean, it wasn't 100% solid, but I got to where, she got essentially all of Mystique's memories and was able to tell the difference between, Mystique pulling the strings and the actual X-Men like Scott who were trying to reach her. So I don't know. Yeah. I liked how they separated it.
Yeah, I think that was
and that Nightcrawler reveal just because he's blue, huh?
Oh yeah. Yeah. That was a really good episode too. Now that I'm thinking back on it, the whole reveal that it's her son.
Oh yeah, I think that was a good reveal how they did that, because it was like, okay, so he really doesn't know where he came from, and his parents, they tried to help him, of course, and he shows up in the pilot, and then they slowly over time, because they make Mystique like horrible. You hate Mystique, like, oh, of course she's there talking to the Blob in the opening of this episode. Of course she is, and then they're like, we're gonna start off this episode with Rogue having a nightmare. It's actually a vision, and it's Mystique losing her son because Magneto is like, you can't have your son anymore. And it's like, because if they could have pushed it further, it wouldn't have been the wolves that had her dropping the baby off the bridge. It would have been Magneto probably forcing it. Mm-hmm. So it was interesting. I liked seeing the difference with Mystique. I like seeing that she actually has a soft spot. And then, of course, I think it was part 2 of the Cauldron, the final episode, where Kurt's like, what are you doing here,
Mom?
Mother?
Yeah.
It's like, you had to hold that.
Yeah. Oh, God.
And I think you commented, or someone else commented, saying that face goes away, but when you actually keep watching the show, when he does it in his introduction episode, he still does it. He's like
yeah.
What is that?
I don't know. I got chuckles out of it, when I saw it back then, but the overreactions now are just making it even more hilarious.
Oh, it's funny.
And we also got the reveal of Juggernaut as Charles Xavier's brother.
And then 3 episodes after that, they show the Cytorak gems that give him his powers.
I was like,
yeah.
I was literally thinking Deadpool 2 when this happened. I was like, so not only is Ryan Reynolds voicing Juggernaut, but he's also the brother of one of the Xaviers.
I have to say, I think the introduction of Juggernaut was probably one of my favorite episodes because of how they actually handled him. Because I remember seeing from the 80s Spider-Man X-Men crossover with Juggernaut, and that, like, it's so like campy, but it works in that context because the voice, I will be your doom, and I just remember that. Yeah. And then you see the X-Men 90s series, how they handle Juggernaut there, which I think is phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
And then you see this, they could have made it to where, okay, this Juggernaut, like, he's so angry, he's going to be running to the X-Men. Yeah. No, He's just walking. There's a train going by. He just walks through the train.
Walks through.
And then the police cars, when they pull up front, you would think in terms of a typical live action film, Juggernaut, Hulk, whoever would have picked up those cars and threw them, right? Like run up and or slam into him. Yeah. He just like picks them up and just walks up, picks up. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
Oh, is that William? Wait, is that the voice in the show or the 80s? William Marshall? I don't know. Maybe he's referring to the guy in the 80s, but that voice. Be your doom. I love that too because they had Wolverine. Like, what accent was that he had in that episode? I think it was Australian.
Yeah,
I think. And then he used his claws to get like a bunch of fruit or whatever, like a shit, like a. I don't know.
I remember
that was
one,
weird.
Yeah.
I will say that I did like the whole voice actor who played Wolverine. I was like,
Scott McNeil, yeah.
Yeah, I was like that. Yeah, that's Wolverine.
Well, if any of you guys remember Toonami, he was Duo Maxwell. That's the guy who voiced him. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's Wolverine.
Oh, 80s Juggernaut. So apparently the William Marshall. Okay. Yeah, that. I like Wolverine. Yeah.
I was like,
except the blunder with his mask.
I always had to laugh. I was like, does he always like growl, grunt, like a freaking dog all the time? I was like, yeah, Hugh Jackman did that too.
The Wolverine origin episode.
That
was really good. Yeah, because I think the best part about it is not even the Wolverine origin stuff was good, but my two favorite moments was when the scientist calls Sabretooth twice Bigfoot. Like, stop calling me that. And then the other thing is, I was like, okay, so how are they going to destroy the machine that's manipulating Wolverine? I wasn't even thinking about it. I thought, they're just going to go and destroy it. Kitty phases through
jumps right through it. Yeah,
just cause all the explosions. I'm like, that's a way to do it.
And when the Nightcrawler were stuck in that ghost town of the he was in the school, but he wasn't like physically there.
Oh, in the Middleverse,
yeah. And he was like, they were trying to figure out how to destroy the machine, and Cyclops is there. I'm going to destroy it, blast it like 100 volts. And the key prize, like, I can just go into it and just silently disrupt the thing.
And they say, why do boys always want to blow up stuff? It's like,
oh God, this comment here.
What?
The bottom one.
Oh, aircraft.
Oh,
so I don't know why that was so funny when. And that makes sense in terms of the title, at least what I've seen, the evolution part, because that's what Magneto was wanting to do, was evolve them. So he evolved Sabretooth aircraft. It's like, does that beeping just indicate aircraft? Or it could indicate anything? He's just assuming aircraft.
And then whenever Magneto tries to bring it down, there's no metal. Just the look on Xavier's face.
He just shrugs.
That was really good.
That was one of those moments where he's actually having some humor, because Professor X is very serious in this show, but no metal.
and whenever, I don't think you had this in your reaction, but whenever they're in the plane, the jet, the copter, whatever it is, and Toad's like, oh, we're breaking up. Wolverine's like, there's no metal in this thing. What are we flying in? Cheap plastic?
It could be. Yeah. What were you gonna say, 3W?
Speaking of wow, I just had a. I'll think of it again.
Brain fart.
Yeah.
One of those moments. I get it.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah. What I'm really curious about, because obviously, Joey Patrick, you've seen the entire show, and 3W, I think you said you've seen the whole show. It's just been a long time.
23 years.
Okay.
Around there.
So what I'm really curious about, because what they did, interestingly enough, how they kind of went about the finale, is they show you Mystique's new form for a second. They don't show you Magneto's. I'm like, oh, like we finally get to see him finally, and then he's changed now. So I'm really curious about that. Because what also confirms too is that they can lose that evolution, because we see where Scott and Alex both lose their evolved looks and powers because they stopped the asteroid from falling. So
thankfully the white hair was gone.
Oh my god, that's interesting, right? Like they got the white hair like Magneto, but Mystique did not.
Could have been because of her abilities.
That's true too.
She could have white hair if she morphed. Oh, but speaking of Mystique, I didn't know that Mystique could actually turn into dogs and cats. And
yeah, seeing her turn into animals is a different thing.
Yeah, because I think Jake last week at some point during the stream, he's like, yeah, you figured out pretty much right away since you've been watching the show. You could point out, oh yeah, that's Mystique. It's the cat.
Oh, yeah,
when they go to the
there.
beach, the cat, like, oh, that's Mystique.
Yeah.
Also, too, Mystique also was a statue at one point in the background or whatever. Like,
she was in the X-Men. She actually was a statue in the background.
And then you guys remember in the very first episode, whenever she's talking to Toad in the office, and then she like turns into that demon for a second. You remember that?
Okay, now that I'm thinking more about like what can she not turn into?
What the hell?
She's like a female Beast Boy.
That's perfect, because now she's not limited to her abilities.
Oh, yeah.
Because we also saw in the episode where Rogue and Scott finally actually have a conversation, and he kind of reveals, hey, we weren't the ones attacking you. We were trying to help you.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Everything. And then Mystique turns into that eagle or bird or whatever. And it's like,
and then she was even a wolf before that, I think.
Yeah, standing on like a werewolf, and then it goes down all form. Okay, don't tell me she can turn to a werewolf. But like you said, she turned to a demon early on in the series, so anything's possible.
Yeah, when I first saw that, I was like, is that the Shadow King? Because it looked like him.
Oh, I was thinking that for a second too before it was revealed it was me. I'm like, oh my god, the Shadow King right away. Wait, why is the Shadow King in high school?
I was like, that seems well. Not only that, it seems like way too early to bring somebody like that in.
Well, then again, I know it's a different show. Shadow King was introduced early on ish in Wolverine and the X-Men.
Well, yeah, that's true. I'm thinking about that now. I think it was just because of the way that show was structured, how it fit better there.
I just had one of those flashbacks to where when Mystique can turn into anything, I was like, I went to Captain Marvel, and I was like, can you turn into that dresser? Why would I turn into a dresser?
Well, the thing is, I'm guessing anything living or anything she can imagine that could be living, she can turn into.
But a statue isn't living, though.
That's also a fair point.
Yeah. You remember in the first movie where she turned into that little mini statue of Lady Liberty?
Yeah.
Oh, I forget about that. Okay, I forgot about that entirely.
That's what I was mentioning when I said
so
that. Yeah.
So I guess it's limitless. Then again, I don't know what's going to happen in the future of the show, so I don't know what else
she can turn into a pen.
Probably. I mean, if she can turn into a statue and a demon that does not exist as far as we know, in terms of the continuity of the show, at least from what I've seen, then that would imply anything's for grabs, essentially, for her. Like, she could literally blend into the X-Mansion and just listen in on everything that's being said. Like, she could have as a statue.
Like a lounge chair and be like,
that would have been weird.
Around.
Wolverine sits down, massive fart in the chair.
It's kind of like you just reminded me of when I think it was in the Spider-Man 90s cartoon how they had Mysterio turn into plants, or like how he disguised himself as one. And then when they finally leave, it's like, oh god, I thought they'd never leave.
Now, it'll be funny. So in the episode where Kitty is trying to find some peace and quiet, and obviously this is the same episode of the origin of Wolverine, so it kind of goes off the rails. You have that moment where she goes into the room and Spyke is laying down on that couch lounge thing, and he's throwing spikes up the ceiling. Imagine if, as he's doing that, Mystique is that lounge couch and he's stabbing her with his spikes.
And I will be completely honest. Doing that whole scene of him throwing spikes, I was like, that's where the image of Spyke from the X-Men 3, live action one. Where I was thinking, like, because he was throwing them.
Oh, yep. He can do anything. Let's see. Well, as far as I know, she can at least look like anything and mimic certain physical traits, if anything, but she can't mimic other mutant powers like telekinesis. Well, yeah, that's the one thing she can't do.
That's true. Yeah, she can't do powers.
Except for in X-Men, or she didn't get the structure of the Wolverine claws, but she still made them come out of her skin.
Oh yeah, in the first movie, because like as soon as she got hit with them, they broke.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It wasn't the strength of it.
Well, I think it also depends on, because if you look at the continuity of Mystique in the oh my god, could she do that?
You're just gonna see herself in the show.
Hey, everybody's chainsaw reacts. I'm like, this is weird. It's not a Netflix documentary.
I'm on NDA. I can't say anything.
I can't tell you that they actually mimicked you all this time ago.
Talk about
but I think in the terms of the Mystique continuity in the comics and everything, like they basically can do whatever with Mystique to a certain level. So I feel like with this show, it's like, because like I'm trying in the '90s show, did they have Mystique? I'm trying to remember. Did they have Mystique in the '90s show? I don't even think they did.
I don't
know.
If they did it was like a one-off or something. Yeah. But
they had like almost every Brotherhood member except her, I think.
That's interesting. But yeah, so they used Mystique heavily, and then of course Mystique is featured throughout all the X-Men live action movies, pretty much.
Yeah.
And so it's like
some of their detriments.
Yeah, well, and of course they get Jennifer Lawrence, who at first was fine, but then she's like, I don't want to be in this contract anymore. But yeah, so Mystique is very useful in the sense, and of course here it's like they can pretty much once you go to the animals and statue,
so she was in season
you can do
1.
whatever. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's right. I remember because I think it was one of the Rogue-centric episodes where she is like posing as Rogue to kind of mess with Gambit while actual Rogue is off doing her own thing. I remember that now. That's just one specific episode I remember.
I was looking it up and you already pulled it up. You're quick. Okay. Yeah, that is classic. And I think, obviously with Mystique, you got to stick with blue skin, red hair. I think they did a pretty good job with the look of her in the show, making her look like Mystique, but she's different enough in evolution. But I guess women. Then again, X-Men '90s, like that was their, like we had X-Men animated stuff before, but not to the level of like multiple seasons.
Yeah.
So
because that went on for 5 years.
Oh yeah, and then it's coming back, so we're getting more.
Yeah. I'm excited for that.
Hopefully they'll stick the landing because people have high hopes for that thing.
Oh yeah.
Did you know the animator and character designer who did this also worked on the Ultimate Avengers movies?
Oh, nice.
Well, that's cool.
I can actually see that now that I'm visually comparing the two in my mind.
Of course you are. Typical.
I still want to see a live action Young Avengers.
That was also a good animated movie.
Yeah.
This is actually a good point as well when you think about shapeshifting in general. Yeah, because that is true. Oh, we got to go back. It's messed up. There we go. It switched back when we clicked the thing open. Oh, my word. But yeah, I'm really digging the show. I've yet to watch the season 2 premiere. Probably watch that tomorrow morning for work. Cool. So we'll see how that goes.
I stayed with the 13, so I wouldn't spoil anything that I don't know.
Thank you.
I'm not spoiling anything either. I'm just staying within season 1.
Thank you, because we had some issues on the Ben 10 live stream last time.
I know. So. It was completely awesome that I just popped in right at.
Oh my god!
I
literally was like getting so mad.
I might have missed something.
I mean, well, when I did my Ben 10 stream a couple weeks ago, I was like, after a big episode, and I did a stream, a couple people, somebody's in the stream who said, I think 4 different spoilers, which I've actually forgotten what the person said because I forget a lot of shit, plus everything going on. My mind's just not processing a lot. But I remember specifically getting really mad and trying to keep my composure and not lose my shit and show like the anger. But I was getting really frustrated because we're sitting there and all of a sudden we're having a nice conversation. I have another reactor who reacts to Ben 10 on people we're not expecting. It was last minute. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Be like, oh my God. And then this person's like, well, yeah, thank you. Because he has seen a little further ahead. He's like, he's starting on the next series, but I'm close behind. But then he's like, this other guy's like,
God, could you imagine if somebody would have, just for an example, the Goblin reveal at the end of Spectacular Spider-Man? Could you imagine if he would have had that spoiled for you?
First of all, that show needs another season or
Amen.
multiple seasons. But
yeah.
Okay, this is an interesting question. Would you guys want a crossover between the 90s X-Men and X-Men? No. Totally, they're very different.
Yeah.
It'd be weird. It'd be like the Teen Titans go. What?
Isn't the backstories also different?
Oh yeah.
Very, very different.
Yeah.
Because when you start X-Men 90s, the team is established already.
Yeah.
For one thing.
That'd be like crossing over the Teen Titans Go and Teen Titans. They actually did do that.
They did.
Yeah, they did.
That was that was
something they didn't do.
Yeah,
that would be like if they did Teen Titans Go and Young Justice.
Oh well, actually, I was actually making the joke, but the more I kept thinking about it, I'm like, I know I'm joking about this because I've seen the movie, but it actually wasn't that bad. But they actually made fun of the fact, and they were allowed to make fun of the fact that we're the lesser comedic version of these, like, because you are, because that's you, but now you're this. Making good animated movies and shows. Well, I mean, we'll see.
And the Teen Titans Go. Like the drawing was like, big heads. No,
there were a lot of good Marvel animated movies in the 2000s. You had the 2 Ultimate Avengers movies, the 2 quote unquote Hulk versus movies that were on the one disc. Like you had Hulk versus Wolverine, Hulk versus Thor.
Hulk versus Thor is one that I was like expecting it to be tied into the Avengers movie when he like picked up the hammer.
Oh yeah, because he is in that animated movie. He did pick up the hammer, but it was
and threw it with his brute force.
But it was also, in my opinion, the more lame version of the hammer that just looked like a tiny axe.
Yeah,
I didn't like Ultimate Thor in terms of design. I really didn't.
It's kind of like similar to how the Vision just picks up the hammer because he's using his strength.
He's like, here you go. Thank you, Andrew, for the comment. Like watching your watchers of this and Batman. Yeah, the Batman was fun to watch through all the way. It was fun. Give me my Batgirl early first before Robin. That was amazing. I loved it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Freaked out. This is the question. This is the question I've been waiting for. What do we think of Rogue as a goth girl? It's probably the best decision they've ever made for that character.
I like how they established her gray hair first before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You guys remember when I think it was the episode with Spyke and the camera where Rogue turned into a wolf for that moment?
Oh my god, that was because she absorbed Sabretooth.
Yeah.
That was so quick, but probably the coolest thing ever. Like, why couldn't we see more of that?
Yeah, and then like you even heard the growl in her voice too. So that was a nice detail.
I love that subtle change too. Whenever she picks on someone's powers, her voice slightly changes a little bit.
Because when she touched Nightcrawler, she started speaking German uncontrollably.
And I speaking of Sabretooth, I didn't have a problem with him in 1, 2, and 3 of the original X-Men live action movies until I saw X-Men Origins. And I'm like,
it's the one thing it did better than those movies.
He should have remembered that that's his brother.
Yeah. Well, also too, it's like the Wolverine actor, not the Wolverine, the Sabretooth actor for the first film didn't continue. I don't think.
Nope. Yeah, it was just in that movie.
Yeah, and then Liev Schreiber killed the role, and then he's never going to play it again.
I think they were gonna, maybe they were supposed to have him in Logan because I know he wasn't mentioned in a deleted scene.
Yes.
Maybe they wanted to actually have him in there.
Yeah, probably scheduling conflicts. I think Evolution is closer to Wolverine and the X-Men than the 90s. I agree with that. I think the tone of Wolverine and the X-Men, but I mean, like, the way it is. Like, obviously, in terms of like tone, we're talking about crossovers. Like, it'd be interesting if like Evolution could morph into Wolverine and the X-Men, but like timeline wise, it doesn't make sense.
Also noticed in this, he's more of a hero, like instead of like a loner.
Wolverine.
Wolverine,
yeah. I mean, but they also start out with him at first coming back after being gone. Like, how long was he gone before he came back? And now he's like, true. He's being a mentor. What was he doing? Yeah, now he's being a mentor to the brats.
I had a feeling somebody was going to bring this up.
Yeah.
He went to the snowy mountains.
Yeah. I had a feeling somebody was going to bring this up down here.
Well, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
Still my personal favorite X-Men series. See, that's the beauty of it, man. People grew up on this show first, and 3W saw it for the first time. Okay, he's watching for the first time.
I saw the first 2 episodes, and then as a kid, and I was like, no, this isn't for me. And then as an adult, I went back and watched it, and I'm like, okay, adult me likes it.
I just wish I would have gotten some of those series sooner, because looking at them now, they're a lot better than I gave them credit for initially.
Yeah, because I think the difference was for me for a lot of times is that I would watch shows for just there's just cool stuff happening in the visuals, but now I can actually understand and kind of comprehend the storytelling, because with this show, there's not deep storytelling, but if you're a kid, you're not picking up on the continuity continuations of each episode where, okay, so now that Avalanche is in the school, what is that going to do to Kitty when they come face to face again? What is that going to mean?
Yeah.
Once you see the episode, like, oh, okay, whatever, moving on. There's all it's called the fight scenes.
Yeah.
And then you see the Blob episode, and then it's like, oh yeah, now he's obsessed with Jean Grey. And like, how does that fuck up that? And then of course that's the turning point for Rogue. Yeah, because she fights Blob and everything. That turns everything for her.
Yeah. A lot of the season 1 episodes are self-contained, and they have these, like they have these background plot lines in them that connects the episodes together, but the connectivity is not so much in the forefront as it is later on.
Did we like the dance with Rogue and Kitty? Yes, I thought that was.
It was funny.
It was yeah.
That gave me kind of like a flashback to the opening of Batman Beyond.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
Well, in Batman Beyond, they have a lot of like club scenes. I remember, there's like a lot of times where Terry's just in the club. Why? I don't know.
These kids aren't old enough to go to a club.
Well, it's just like too. It's like, are they just trying to make it? They're trying to make it as different as possible, because Bruce never went to a club in the animated series, and I was like, well, what Terry's gonna go? Terry's gonna be a cool kid. Like, no.
Well, it was a different time too.
Would you say that dancing was too sexual?
Oh, for Rogue and Kitty?
Yeah, Rogue and Kitty for a cartoon as a kid, for a kid show.
No. I wouldn't say. I would say it was like probably at the time, which the next comment we'll definitely talk to people about. Well, the timing of it is different because of when the show was made, but in terms of the dance, it was probably okay, because I guess that was like a thing back then where you had like
dancing with another woman.
Well, dancing scenes and stuff. I don't know, but now it was like. It's a little strange, because you could be doing something else to lure out Sabretooth, because he's coming, but yeah, danced up for the video. Woo! So okay. Yeah. So I had a problem with this, and I still do. And people comment saying, hey, look, at the time it was like, because back then there was a lot of movies that kind of did this kind of thing, and their version of it was very tame, because Jean Grey wasn't nude or anything, and he wasn't really seeing anything. But the fact is, even if he was filming it or not, it's still creepy. It's just a creepy scene, because he's like, he's like filming it, because he's like, I want to, and they still kind of use it in his video, because she still slams the door. I'm like, oh, so you're still including the footage of you like, ooh, what are you doing?
I forgot about that scene until I saw it in your reaction. I was like, oh wait, they did that.
And the whole Kitty Pryde walking into the bathroom.
Oh yeah.
And
what the hell was Rogue doing in there?
Also, the way that her hair was all like,
oh yeah.
If she was fully clothed, she wouldn't have screamed.
That's true.
Yeah.
Now, I'm gonna find.
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. I just saw one of the comments about how they snuck the '90s theme into the Spyke episid. That was cool.
Oh yeah, they did. Yeah. It was like a beach theme.
Yeah, it was like right at the end.
Yeah, and it was like. And I'm sitting there going, did they just do the fucking 90s theme in the most weirdest way possible? Because you think, do it like an action scene. That'd be really cool. But no, we're going to play.
Yep.
I wanted to find a shot from and I don't know what episode this is from. And maybe I missed it. Maybe you guys could know what it is.
I could probably tell you.
It's a shot from, well, I first got to find it in on. It's trying to like it's from the intro.
Like the intro of the show. Okay.
Yes. Okay. It's a rogue shot.
Rogue shot.
And I remember I kept seeing it, and I'm like, where the fuck is this shot from? And I can't find it. Okay, let me present and see if we can find this shot here. Share screen.
Oh, I think I know which one you're talking about.
Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't know. It's I don't know. Yeah, this shot. Let me go back a little bit. I don't know. Can you hear the audio?
No.
Okay, good. So this shot.
Yeah.
I don't know why the animation's interesting with her hair flowing and the turning, and I'm like, where is this shot from? And I don't know where it's from.
They haven't even done it yet.
Well, also some of those shots, I will say, were purely made for the intro and not actually used in story.
Okay.
And there is a shot of Cyclops pulling Nightcrawler off of a table.
Yeah,
it happened.
Yeah,
that did happen, and the way that actually weirdly transitioned into the whole team shot was pretty cool.
Yeah, because that pulling shot was actually angled differently.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah, because I don't think you see in the actual intro, you don't see his tail. I don't think.
Or I can't remember, but yeah. Like that rogue shot, I'm like, if they made that just for the intro, that's really frustrating. Because I'm like, what episode is this from? Because she's in her X-Men suit. I'm like,
yeah.
When does this happen? Where was it a cut shot and they still had it for the trailer? Because I don't know why. Because I think the animation in the show, besides it not being remastered, which is stupid, they should remaster it and make it better, HD. Yeah. But there's some movement that they do with the animation. It's interesting visually, and just the way that she turns, and it's not like 30 frames, 60 frames. It's like a slower frame rate, but when she turns and the hair bouncing, I'm like, that's it. Yeah, because she can easily just turn and the hair just swipes, but when she turns, the hair bounces because she's like, I guess, running or jumping or something. I don't know, whatever she's doing. And I'm like, what is this shot from? Anyways, well, we see Kitty Pryde in X-Men 97 along with Deadpool. I don't know about either of them because they first have to reintroduce us to the show because there's a lot of people who haven't seen the show in a long time. Yeah.
And then they have to establish, where everybody is before they go to introduce anybody new.
Nothing can top Bully Maguire dance. I mean, that's true. Yeah, that was them attempting to outbeat the Bully Maguire before it became a thing. I didn't even know.
I actually want Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield, and Tobey Maguire to reenact that.
Did you guys see that video or they made it where all three of them are dancing down the street?
Yeah.
That was great.
That was badly done.
So Andrew's thing on the whole Spyke scene, I took that scene in question of Spyke making fun of how Jean spends getting ready anymore, how long it takes. I just assumed it was an ongoing complaint being they spent having to use the same bathroom. Sure. But she's also trying to find out what clothes she's going to wear. And it's not like it'd be different if she was like brushing her teeth or whatever, drying her hair. But no, she's like looking at, do I want to wear this today? It's like, okay, we know what you're trying to do here.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude. And it's like, why did his teacher trust him to give him a camera? Like, here, take this camera, make a movie. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I will say Spike's. So pardon the pun. Spike's evolution as the show goes on is actually pretty cool to watch when you see how he started to where he ends up. I will say that.
Okay.
His character's on point.
That's good. That was good. His character's on point.
Because right now you've only seen the tip of the iceberg. I could play this game too.
It's like I'm watching myself in the mirror.
He's just looking down. He's like, "What are we doing here?"
So since we just recently saw it too, how did you feel about them waiting for a long time to reveal Magneto's look in the show?
As a person that knows who Magneto looked, it wasn't really a mystery. But
I just like I wanted to see him, just show his face,
It was like, come on, after the second episode, I was like, they need to show him.
I thought they would have done it because of the final scene with the Quicksilver introduction where he breaks him out. I was like, okay, you're gonna show him now? No, okay. And then even when we get to Alex, it's like he's leaning over Alex, of course, the son, and he doesn't see his face. He's like, I can help you with your powers. I'm like, dude,
was the first time we actually seen him? Correct me if I'm wrong. In the drain when the baby goes over the cliff.
You didn't see his face then.
No, but you knew it was him clearly. Yeah. But it was the cauldron part one when Xavier was being brought in.
Yeah,
because the camera pans.
Yeah,
and it goes up to his face. It's like, welcome to what did he call it?
Sanctuary, I think is what he said. It's like, welcome to Sanctuary.
Yes, welcome to Sanctuary.
He should have said welcome to the Brotherhood.
Yeah.
He should have said welcome to the Brotherhood.
Well, it was funny when you look at it because he technically debuted in the pilot because you see that little shadow of him behind Mystique, and then you see him actually face to face in the finale.
Oh yeah. Would you like to see other Marvel characters in X-Men Evolution outside of just X-Men? Like, I mean, Hulk. Sure. I mean, that's the beauty of like watching My Adventures with Superman right now, the new show that's airing now. Like that show. Like, I would love to see other characters. Like they teased a bunch in the last episode, or no, what was the episode before? No, the episode before. They My Adventures with Superman, the new show. They teased a bunch of characters there. So yeah, I would love to see other characters. But it all just depends on the context. Because right now they're still trying to, introduce the X-Men essentially. We still have more seasons to go. We have other things to get to. So.
Just a heads up. I haven't seen episode 8 of My Adventures with Superman.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I mean, it's going to be fun. You're going to have a good time.
That's I can't wait for it.
I
was like, they hinted at them. I'm like, I don't remember that.
The nightmare is over. Riverdale is officially over.
Oh, last episode aired.
It went down the river.
It really went down the river. That Juggernaut episode, Survival of the Fittest, was stellar. Oh yeah, we talk about the train scene where Juggernaut that was because you would think, oh, he's just gonna run through it. No, he walks through it. Doesn't matter. Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, I will say you were complaining, or maybe not. Yeah, it's too strong of a word, but you were criticizing how, I don't like this new take on Cerebro. I'm like, just wait. They give you the classic one.
Oh yeah, because they started off with like that monitor kind of base thing, like someone's computer desk or whatever.
Yeah. And then Juggernaut just walks right through it.
Oh yeah, and then he's like, I don't give a crap. He's like, I don't care.
Yeah,
he's like,
I really liked how stoic that show made him, and not like. Not to where he's, not obviously afraid to hurt something, but he's not just, like this Rhino type character that's just running into everything. Yeah. He actually kind of has a mind of his own. So
pretty much. Joshua Fine did say this on one of my interviews with him. It's like pretty much X-Men could have been its own comic book company. Or I mean, in general, you could do X-Men continuity stuff and never run out of things to do.
Yeah.
In terms of characters and stories, because you could literally just go off what the comics have done and then just keep building off of that to new stuff that maybe has never been done.
And speaking, like since Disney now owns Marvel, they can actually make their own continuity.
Like, yeah, but they won't. But yes, they
could retcon everything.
We don't need the sequel trilogy Marvel edition.
They could literally do Secret Wars to bring in other old X-Men cast to finish them out, and literally start a new X-Men continuity, the X-Men universe, and just do X-Men films, and anything with the X-Men universe brand is connected in that continuity. It's separate. They can do whatever they want.
And speaking, like MCU is a different continuity than the Sony X-Men, so they could literally do their own thing inside the MCU without actually messing up the comic book history.
I'm sorry, did you say the Sony X-Men?
Fox X-Men.
Fox.
Yeah.
I know what you meant.
Yeah. I was like, wait, I don't think there are any X-Men of the Sony variety.
I was like, Spider-Man's a mutant, okay?
Well, I mean, you guys remember when Spider-Man and X-Men crossed over in the 90s? God, that was awesome.
Yes.
That's how you do crossovers right back in those days.
We actually had a Marvel vs. DC animated movie or game. I mean, it's possible if NetherRealm wants to do that for Mortal Kombat 1. Because I think Marvel is suffering right now in terms of games, besides Spider-Man, right?
And because now it's like, Wolverine after that.
Well, yeah, Wolverine, yeah. But I mean, in terms of like a fighting game, yeah, I mean, it'd be really cool if we could get a Marvel fighting game from NetherRealm where it's like Injustice 2, where you get cosmetic items and you can create your own version of these Marvel characters. That'd be awesome.
Especially considering the last Marvel vs. Capcom was really bad.
It was not good. So do something.
I still hate the fact that when you play the Flash, it's like running and stopping.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want him to run until I press stop.
Well, I mean, you have to imagine like the sort of balancing issues that would cause.
Yeah.
I still want like a major Flash game that literally has an open world where you run on water and stuff, like a Flash game.
It just got right about this sort of evolution being its own Marvel universe. Because, yeah, I mean, right now there's been no mention of anything else. It's just X-Men. But then again, we've been kind of sticking with X-Men specific stuff. Like, they haven't really talked about what's happening out there in the world, So I feel like that's interesting because, like, you could, like hypothetically, any of these continuity or new shows could reference, like Wolverine and the X-Men could have easily delved into other stuff, but they never really did. And so, yeah, I mean, sure, you could start delving into other stuff in terms of what is out there, but you're still building this new show. If you start like, okay, episode 6, we're gonna bring in the Avengers. It's like, no, but we're still introducing characters. Because if they would have threw into the middle of the mix, while we're doing all this and introducing it to Blob and Kitty and Kurt and everything, and all these other characters, establishing them and their dynamic, we're going to throw in a whole smothering of other characters and references that won't matter after this episode's over. Well, then why'd we spend all that time?
just imagine if X-Men Evolution would have done a crossover with Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Different time periods, but yes, in terms of like when the shows were made, yes, but yes.
Yeah.
I mean, they were building up to their X-Men. Joshua Fine is like, hey, we wanted to do X-Men. We had Wolverine. Yeah. We were building it up to where we were gonna.
Yeah.
And he said it was a joke, but when Christopher Yost, the other creator, was like putting out there saying, yeah, we were going to do Dark Phoenix in Avengers, I was like, whoa, what? You're gonna do a version of the storyline with the Avengers in the mix? Ooh. What does that mean? Does that mean that Dark Phoenix is actually even more powerful because now you have the Avengers fighting? That would have to be, you'd have to do that. Because if the X-Men can find a way to stop her, you would have to make her even more powerful, or maybe she teams up with somebody, and then that's where you have the Avengers involved too, because like then again, they ended the show on the most powerful being out there. And it's like, okay, and that wasn't actually done. There's still more going on with that. But then, of course, the show ends.
Yep.
So
I guess the world's not about to break anymore.
I was just thinking about the one comic book I want to see in live action is Avengers versus X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't the Wolverine go to the Avengers side?
Did he? I don't remember.
Because I'm trying to remember. I think he actually went to the Avengers side.
I don't know. And if they were to do say with whatever MCU X-Men we get, I hope they don't jump to doing Dark Phoenix again, because I mean, yes, it's a good storyline, but not only can you not do it in just one movie, like there's so much more to it, and I feel like both movies or both attempts at it skipped a really important part, because you have Jean Grey, but then before she goes to Dark Phoenix, there's a part in the middle where she's just Phoenix, to where she has that power, but isn't completely gone yet. And both movies just go straight from Jean Grey to Dark Phoenix.
Well, also too, it's like, okay, you do realize, I was just throwing this out there, there's other storylines to do with Jean Grey than Dark Phoenix. Because in the live action original trilogy with Famke Janssen, they literally were teasing that in the first film. They were kind of hinting that she's really powerful. They had like certain dialogue to kind of hint at something. And then, of course, in the second movie, they're clearly setting this up.
Yeah, because it ends with that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then in her first appearance in Apocalypse with Sophie Turner, they outright just tell you that she has the Phoenix Force in her because she obliterates Apocalypse.
I will say I liked how Dark Phoenix actually showed it as something that comes from space, which was kind of more accurate with the comics instead of just something that is inside her. So I liked that they went the more comic approach, but still wasn't great.
I think her powers were handled better in Dark Phoenix versus X-Men 3 in terms of how, because that whole ending scene in that train yard where she's like obliterating them into dust. I mean, she was doing that in X-Men 3, but it felt more powerful and because it was like, oh, let's create this giant set piece with Famke like just standing there and then like all the destruction. You actually had Jean actually doing stuff.
Yeah, like stuff's actually happening. People are responding. Versus in the other one, Hugh Jackman's just going, Jean,
and then like he's like, I'm coming to you to kill you. Well, God. It's also too. It's like if they were to do like getting to the point of like you were mentioning X-Men versus Avengers. Let's say they did like in the movies. You can't. You've already lost all your heavy hitters pretty much with the Avengers side. They're done. They've either died or they're not appearing anymore.
And even some of those hitters on the Avengers side could have worked on the mutant side too, but they're gone.
What they could do is in What If, the series, they could set up a episode where it's the Avengers versus the X-Men, or maybe we tease and set up a separate series in the multiverse where that is a series, Avengers versus X-Men in animation form. Because instead of having to, we got to get back Robert Downey Jr. We can get a sound alike, even though we want Robert, but we can get a sound alike to mimic him because we had his voice mimicked in the What If show.
Yeah,
do that, and then you could just bring back as many Avengers as you can, and then get the X-Men cast or get a whole new set of casts that are different, or maybe all of them could be different, right? This could be a completely different Tony Stark that isn't like Robert Downey Jr. in the continuity of multiverse. It's another Tony Stark entirely that doesn't sound like Robert.
I don't know. Part of me just wishes that we would have got the cast from the younger movies. Part of me just wishes that those would have been the MCU X-Men, because as much as I love those younger movies, or at least the first two, I just wish that we could have gotten those guys in there because they nail the roles, and I feel like they would have had good camaraderie with the Avengers cast from 5-6 years back. So I think it would have been really nice.
So Wolverine does actually team up with the Avengers to in an attempt to save Hope Summers.
Okay, that makes sense. Andrew says, I hope there's a chance we'll get X-Men Evolution suit for Wolverine. Well, I mean, there's a possibility because like with Spider-Man, there's obviously all the suits from the first two games. And then Spider-Man 2 looks like they have a lot more suits as well. So I think with Wolverine, there'll be a lot of suits that you can pick from. And I bet there's going to be references to Hugh Jackman's Wolverine.
There's probably going to be a movie suit or two in there.
Yeah, and there'll probably obviously be animated suits that are, because like that's what they did. Like they pulled directly from comics and ones that are like very familiar. Because like there's one, even though it's not, because it has like these weird like bag kind of arms.
Oh,
the suit from Spider-Man that looked like Spectacular Spider-Man, kind of.
Yeah, and then they actually made that suit for that game with mods too, which is really cool. Yeah,
so if it's not in the actual game, it'll be modded later. So,
I had to laugh at that.
I gotta say, some of those mods are just going way too far.
Oh yeah,
I had to laugh at the people thinking that Spider-Punk was Peter Parker.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing
is in the game.
Well, it's funny because there's people that go, they don't know the comics, and then they get upset at stuff that happens in movies or TV shows. Like you don't know the history here. You don't know actually what you're talking about. Because there's people, of course, that were upset about there's of course people upset about the fact that Miles Morales is called Spider-Man. Like, well, have you read the comics? He's there's continuity where literally he is the only Spider-Man. Peter is dead or Peter is gone, and he's the only Spider-Man, and they refer to him as Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. Like, same thing, because there's people who've now been upset because in some of the newer comics coming out, it's I think it's either Wolverine's daughter or some variation of like
where
connection
she's Wolverine.
She's Wolverine. Like, oh, she's not Wolverine. I'm like, well, I mean, if this version in this continuity, Logan is dead or Logan is retired and he's no longer Wolverine, he's not carrying the moniker anymore, then what are we supposed to call who clearly is picking up the mantle of Wolverine?
It's like you'll have these people that won't get upset on one side that they're calling Miles Morales Spider-Man, but to use an example on the other side, they will get upset that Sam Wilson is being called Captain America. So double standard.
And I also had to laugh at the not laugh. I like the idea that they actually went with Laura from the comics.
Oh yeah,
as her name.
Oh, yeah.
And X-23. I wanted to see more of X-20. She was a phenomenal actor.
She was great in that movie.
I was like, she's a little tired.
And the thing is, the fact that she was able to be somewhat of a standout beside Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart, that's impressive.
And
they actually made her wait to talk for quite a bit in that movie.
I was like, it's extremely hard for a kid to be quiet.
And especially because she has some pent up anger for sure. Like she mows down guys.
Yeah.
And it's funny too, if you look up Daphne Keane who played her, like you imagine that movie that like it was always only a couple years ago. Now it was a number of years ago, and she is grown up. She's an adult now. It's like it's weird.
She's like 18 years old now, isn't she?
I think she's older than that. I don't know, but it's just so weird how that is the case now. And I'm hoping we get X-23 in the MCU. Maybe it might take a while, obviously, but I'd like to see that because she
doesn't look like the girl that. I mean, she is 18.
But she is, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what she's done. I don't know what she's done since Logan. Question. So far, which X-Men is your favorite from the show and why? I think my favorite is probably... It's hard to say. I think my favorite is probably Wolverine. I know it's a cop-out because it's an easy answer. I think my second favorite is probably Rogue. I really like how she really has a temper on her. But you understand it because has lived a really crazy life where she literally cannot have any contact with anybody. And then once we see more of the fact that she's having the vision of what happened to Kurt when he was a baby, like she's haunted by this stuff like that. That has to affect a person.
Yeah. And
so
I think if you like Rogue now, I feel like you're really going to like her later.
Okay.
And it's just so weird that like all three of the three X-Men cartoons that are in my mind, you have the one from the 90s, you have Evolution, and then Wolverine and the X-Men. All three of those shows did Rogue very well, and then the movies just failed to do that.
I actually liked her in the movies, though.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I just, as Rogue being one of my
setting her up
X-Men,
to be.
I just didn't like her in those.
They were setting her up to be very important, and then she wasn't.
Yeah,
in the first film, she was very important because she's the one that Logan runs into, and then everything kind of unfolds from there. But then she's just kind of like,
that's probably why they gave her a good amount of prominence in the show because of her role in that first movie.
I'm surprised they brought her back for Days of Future Past for just a second.
Oh yeah,
there's also the Rogue cut of Days of Future Past.
Yeah. So I have to ask because I haven't actually watched that one. All through there.
Yeah.
Does there what am I trying to say? Are there more scenes added into that cut other than the ones that contain Rogue or are about her?
I think it's just the Rogue stuff, from what I'm understanding, and I think there's like changes in those scenes because there's certain stuff in the trailer that's not in the movie that's in the Rogue cut because they have to go get Rogue at one point, and I think they change a certain character's death because of going to get Rogue.
Yeah, I do remember that because no, not Kitty Pryde.
No, I know at one point Rogue takes over Kitty's role of holding him in place.
That's what I was like.
But that one certain character that in the theatrical cut of the movie doesn't bite the dust until later toward the end. Actually, it happens like 20 minutes earlier.
Yeah. I don't know.
Try to keep track of the X-Men continuity in that universe.
Exactly.
Do you not see Deadpool's point now where he's like, I can't keep up with all these timelines?
Because
which one, McAvoy or Stewart?
But I guess in that universe it was McAvoy because they just shut the door. We're like, we don't want anything to do with this.
Exactly. And the thing is too, like that was still confusing because Deadpool takes place in modern times, yet that was the 80s set.
Yeah, I didn't think about that until just now.
Yeah.
And wouldn't the MCU version of Charles Xavier be the Patrick Stewart? Because we saw him in Doctor Strange.
Well, that's multiverse.
They were on Earth at that point.
But it would make a lot more sense because Fox Universe has McAvoy.
Yeah, I don't know. I will say, whenever they bring MCU Xavier in, just give him that 90s hover chair.
Exactly.
I kind of like that. I'm so mad that the smartest man alive gets killed in 2 seconds.
Oh yeah.
Well, in fairness, I think because of how hated the Inhuman show was, maybe it was fitting for Black Bolt to go out the way he did.
I mean, I feel bad because I
was talking about Mr. Fantastic.
Well, that too. But I mean, I think just in general, like it's really unfortunate the Inhumans have gotten the shit end of the stick in terms of the recent MCU stuff because that Inhumans movie that is not connected to the MCU. Yeah. There's no way. And then they kill off Black Bolt in the multiverse, and it's like, okay, so I understand the whole
bringing Anson Mount back.
Yeah, and I understand the whole point of Ike Perlmutter wanting to force the Inhumans because at the time Fox was owning X-Men, so they wanted to have their own version of mutants in the mix. So they were trying to force Kevin Feige to put Inhumans movie out in Phase 3, and then all the things went down, so they made the show instead. And it's like the Inhumans deserve their chance, but as we know, when Fox came under Disney now and they have the rights back for X-Men, the Inhumans are not going to be prominent. Like at least not right now, because the X-Men is the priority. They make an X-Men movie, everyone's gonna go watch it. Everyone wants to see what is the MCU going to do differently with the X-Men. So the Inhumans, unfortunately, is just
if someone other than Scott Buck was at the helm, maybe it could have turned out okay.
Yeah, because I feel like the cast wasn't the problem; it was the budget and just the story in general just wasn't good. So it's frustrating as hell.
Agreed.
I mean, people are upset Miles is just Spider-Man in the comics doesn't have his own name spot being in the 616 now Peter Spider-Man, and it tends to get frustrating for readers. Well, it's like a thing to where, like, as Jake was saying, there's people that get mad at certain things and not mad at other things. It's like you gotta pick your poison. If you're gonna be mad at someone picking up the mantle or having the same moniker because they have the same abilities and they're basically one and the same, they're just different people. If you're mad at that in general, you have to be mad at every single time that happens to anybody. You can't just be mad at certain ones.
Wasn't there one called the Iraq Kid?
The Iraq Kid?
Iraq. It was some sort of spider name.
Oh, there was Arachnoman.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah,
I think it was.
And the color scheme for him was really weird because you take the classic blue and red for Spider-Man, where there would be red, there was yellow, and where there would be blue, there was green. So it was an interesting color scheme.
What's his name again?
Arachnoman.
Arachnoman.
And then he has green, speck eyes too.
Oh my god.
There's also Captain Universe too.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. Arachnoman Homecoming?
What?
Let me show this. Here, look at this. So this is what he would be in the MCU if he popped up.
Dragonfly 2.0.
Why does that remind me of? I don't know why. The quality of that image reminds me of those Spider-Man TV shows from the 70s.
Oh, I know there's that Japanese Spider-Man or whatever they did. Yeah.
And then the American show actually gave us a worse Spider-Man costume.
Oh yeah, rip-offs. Let's see. Oh, Japanese Spider-Man rip-offs. Let's see. What was that guy? He was in DC, the Black Spider or something.
Oh yeah,
he was in Young Justice.
It was Kid Arachnid. That was who I was talking about.
Oh, okay. So I was at a different character.
It was from the Ultimate Spider-Man.
You remember? You remember the Hornet, the guy with like the pink helmet, and he had the little jetpacks on his back? Yeah.
Is that Marvel or DC?
That's Marvel.
Yeah. Green Hornet.
Yeah. Well, no, Green Hornet I think it's technically owned by DC, but just Hornet is Marvel.
I watched that movie, the live action one they did.
Yeah. Saw it a long time ago.
Yeah. Oh, why did I turn that off for some reason? Yeah. Hold on a second.
I guess Chainsaw is the Shadows now.
I am the Shadow. Arachnid Kid was from the Amalgam universe. Oh, there you go. Oh yeah, Josh Keaton did voice Black Spider and Young Justice. He did.
What is it with Josh Keaton and voicing Spider characters?
Well, I mean, they got rid of his show. Why not go over to the opposite side and do a DC? Yeah. And then he got kind of, well, not really like redeeming or anything, or like a swan song, but he was in the forefront for at least 5 seconds and across the Spider-Verse.
And then he did get to play Spider-Man in a couple video games too, so I will give him that.
Which one? Which ones?
So in Shattered Dimensions, he was the black suited Spider-Man, the Ultimate one.
Oh.
And then in Edge of Time, he was Peter Parker.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. And then he had Christopher Daniel Barnes playing Miguel O'Hara. And then in Shattered Dimensions, the guy from Amazing Friends was Miguel O'Hara.
Amazing Friends. Oh, I remember that show. Spider-Man. Wait, was that Iceman and Firestar?
Yeah.
Spider-Man and his amazing friends.
That's
Wait,
show
that's the Juggernaut crossover.
Yeah, that's where the Juggernaut comes. Well, there were two Spider-Man shows in the 80s, because there was one that was just Spider-Man, and then one that was Spider-Man and his amazing friends. And they were kind of close together. I remember the one thing that sticks out of my head from that show, at least more than others, was Goblin from that one, just because of his voice. I don't know if you guys remember it that well or not.
I don't remember it too much. No.
Like, I got me a wall crawler.
I got me a wall crawler.
Yeah. And then you have, of course, Neil Ross, who did Goblin in the 90s, who was fantastic.
Oh, I mean, yeah, and obviously,
Steve Blum.
Steve Blum. Yeah, phenomenal and spectacular.
Oh yeah, and some of those writing and dialogue for that character just was the cherry on top.
I mean, it was such a good blend of like the high pitch Goblin, but also the low. Like it was a good mixture.
To now know that he's voiced both Venom and Green Goblin is interesting.
Oh yeah.
Because he did Venom in a video game from around that time.
Of course, to me, I think he's one of the best Wolverine voice actors.
Oh, yeah. He's probably like right below Cal Dodd as Steve Blum for me.
Oh, yeah. Come on. I'm trying to search something up. I had to fucking log in. Anyways. Okay, here we go. Let's see, where's it at? Oh my god. Oh wait, this is a. Oh, okay. Okay, well, it actually. Okay, I pulled it up on Chrome, so this should work. In audio too. Let's see.
All right, let's see.
Let's see. Allow.
What do we got?
Let's see. Allow. I'm trying to allow. Come on. Will it show?
What the hell?
Oh, this is a mashup. Wait, that's not the real thing.
I couldn't hear it. Yeah.
Oh, you can't hear the audio?
No.
I'm on Chrome. I thought it would have worked.
You have to click the button to allow audio.
Yeah, I think there's an allow audio button in StreamYard.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to allow it?
Yeah, as soon as you share it, you would have to allow it.
Let me see.
You would have to stop screen completely.
it says.
Oh, I just saw your
notifications.
Oh, what the hell?
Wait,
I just saw
allow.
your 3-dub. Nice.
Wait, yeah, it's not saying anything about audio.
It will be at the bottom corner.
I'm not seeing anything about that though.
That's weird.
It says mute website notifications.
It would be a little checkbox at the bottom. Are you sharing it the right way? Like, there's 3 different options. Like,
I'm doing present.
Yeah, there's a before you click on window and Chrome tab or entire screen, there's a shared tab audio.
Wait, I don't see the share tab.
It will be. I'm looking at it.
Okay. I'm seeing share screen. So I click on present.
Yes.
There's slides, extra camera, video file, share screen.
Yes, there's for me it's Chrome tab, Windows, and entire screen. And then at the bottom of that, there's a shared tab audio. And it'll be.
Yeah, it's
not kind of.
There should be like a little checkbox in the bottom corner where you can check to share audio.
It's really bad that you can't actually share the screen that you share.
Yeah, because I can't. Because there's nothing there that. Yes, it's not.
Does the top of it say choose what to share with StreamYard.com?
Allow StreamYard to see your screen? ?
No, it's like it says at the top of the when you present and share screen, it says choose what to share with StreamYard.com.
Yeah, it's not asking me that question.
That is weird.
I'm confused.
Professional stream.
Did you do share screen or video file or slides?
I'm hitting share screen.
Okay. Then when you click that, it should say share tab audio at the very bottom where it says share and cancel.
No, it says allow and cancel. Or allow or not now.
Wow.
I don't know, dude.
Because I know what the hell? I know what he's talking about. I'm not sure why your screen's different.
I don't know.
You have different words entirely.
Apparently I do.
Coming to us from a different Earth where that's different.
Apparently.
He's coming from the multiverse of color.
I'm going into my. That's where I'm looking at my.
Do they have pizza balls in that multiverse too?
I'm looking at my layouts and everything. I'm not seeing anything about this. This is irritating.
Technical difficulty.
Please don't.
Whoa. Oh yeah, some of those default backgrounds. Hey, is that where you're moving to?
Are you being bricked up?
It's my house, guys.
I didn't. Right here. You didn't even click on it. I just. Wow.
I'm trying to. Okay. Yes, use the camera. Use my microphone. What the hell? Connect secure.
Whoa.
That's cool.
Someone's in the multiverse now.
That's like someone's literally now in the multiverse.
Actually, no, that's the Speed Force there.
A new world. Oh God, a new world.
God, was it not so lazy how they just called the last episode finale?
Yeah,
that was so bad.
I can't believe I still have these. Oh, I am logged into mine, so maybe why I can upload stuff.
I have to set some up for me. Come on. God. Why is it not doing this? Okay, so whenever you go to share your screen, do you see an option for Chrome tab, right? Like there should be 3 things across the top. It says your screen, application window, Chrome tab.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what it says for me. When I click on present, slides, extra camera, video file, share screen. When I hit share screen, it says allow StreamYard.com to see your screen. And
that's
the one. Yeah.
And then at the bottom of that, not the list, like not the scrolling list, but at the very bottom,
there is none. At the very bottom, it's allow, not allow, and then there's a drop down that says always block. There's nothing else.
Wow.
The only thing is it says mute website notifications while sharing.
That's weird because I think me and 3W have the same screen on our end.
Yeah, we're seeing shared tab audio. Maybe send us the link in the private chat and I'll bring it up.
Well, here's what I was gonna actually download it. I was gonna download this thing.
Download it. Wow.
I was gonna download it because I can share the video file. Because
my way is easier.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'll send you the link.
Someone put the can of tomatoes back. Reality's broken.
Okay, so here's the link. What I want you to scroll to is around 150 because there's a shot of Juggernaut coming out of the ground. And the face he's making when he's yelling is funny as hell.
150. Okay.
Yeah, 150 on that.
I'll do.
It's I don't know why mine. Maybe it's something I have to do in the background when I'm not streaming.
Oh God, my phone's going off.
Silence your phones while we're live streaming.
Exactly.
What's actually pretty funny. What's actually pretty funny that the '90s theme is my ringtone. The '90s X-Men theme is my ringtone. So
okay, here we go. I'll add the stream. Here we go.
That was a perfect. Oh God.
Watch Juggernaut. Watch him. Yeah, hit that. Give me a second. Here.
I remember this.
Now it's my turn.
Yeah, listen to that accent. Oh my God. Look at that. Look at that shot.
This guy's flying.
Oh.
I'm stuck. Typhus helmet. Nothing stands between us now.
Firestar. Hey, Firestar. Oh, of course, where the Smallville stuff pops up, of course.
God,
as it should.
Oh, yeah.
that was funny.
That just kind of reminds me. You remember that old X-Men arcade game? Whenever you ran into Magneto and he goes, "Welcome to die."
Oh yeah, because the translation was screwed up.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was so funny. Oh, nothing was standing in our way.
Looks like he's flying.
Yeah, like he's flying straight down, just like
yeah.
And I liked how I thought it was funny how his claws just pointed like sideways.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, how far back in the chat are we?
Nah, the chat's fine.
Cool. Yeah.
They were patiently waiting for us to figure things out.
Oh yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we opened up a breach in the multiverse. Yeah, pretty much. Oh my gosh.
There is
That's
no
funny.
CGI here.
No. Yeah, the one thing it doesn't tell me, Streamer doesn't tell me how many viewers, or at least how many people have seen on
These
Twitter.
are not the droids you're looking for.
Twitter. That's funny. Man. But yeah, I'm really enjoyed X-Men Evolution. It's definitely fun.
That's good. Are there any things right now where, like, not like things that you hope to see get paid off later, but any just criticisms with it so far?
I will say I feel like they really haven't delved too much into Professor X in terms of, besides obviously, the whole thing with Juggernaut, but I really feel like Professor X, he has his amount of time in the series, but so far I really don't know too much about him outside, of course, being Professor X. Like I want to know more about this version of him, because they pretty much did a pretty good job with establishing the villains to an extent. Mystique more than most makes sense, but then the actual X-Men themselves, like they get their own episodes themselves, where they're the focus, or like they're heavily featured throughout. So it felt like So I think Charles is the only one I'm kind of hoping they expand more on because, he's good, but I want to see more of him because everyone else, even Toad has had some stuff, and like really Toad.
One thing I would have liked to see more of is Kitty Pryde because we basically get one side of her.
Yeah, because it's like, she's having trouble and has her powers, and obviously she's manipulated by this guy. And then,
she's like put there. She's like at the beginning of the series. She wasn't. There was no recruiting. There was
it was like, okay, she's here now, and then it's like there's times where she's just kind of there.
Yeah,
like all she really did in the fight when they were all like fighting to who's gonna be taken away to Magneto's sanctuary.
Yeah, she just had Blob phase through her. Yeah,
she just phased through Blob. It was like, ugh. Like I understand that's a lot, and you had to go take a nap, but like it was. Yeah,
I did like how Quicksilver buried Spyke in that sandcastle.
That was good. Yeah. Well, the thing is too, the X-Men, like the thing is like they were not prepared for a fight like that.
Oh no!
Like. That was and the thing is too, Toad lost twice.
Again.
He lost twice. He lost against Jean, and Jean wasn't even trying. It's like, I don't want to play your games and just kept throwing him around. It's like, I love that. Because like he's trying to fight her because he knows what's happening. Yeah. Jean's like, I don't know what you're doing here. Get out of here. And then who did he fight again? It was Rogue.
It was Rogue, yeah. And I did find it interesting too how, like when you get to the 2-part finale, none of the people aside from Logan, Charles, and presumably Storm know who Magneto are.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting.
They keep that quiet.
Yeah.
And because Wolverine's like, Magneto. And then Scott's like, who? Yeah. And it's like.
They mention him indirectly in the Nightcrawler Rogue episode because Xavier's like, experimenting on mutants. I didn't know he was going to do that. And then, like Logan, knows who he's talking about, but that's part of the reason why they look at each other. They're like, huh?
Yeah. Speaking of the Logan just blurting out on Magneto, I was like, wait, when did he know? Did he know in the pilot?
Apparently they've known. It's just that we're not going to address it yet.
Why was it mystery then?
Because there's probably people who watched that first episode live and did not watch the 90s show, or they really don't know too much about X-Men. So like, who's this guy? Who is he? And it's like, if you're an X-Men fan, you know exactly who it is right away. And it's like, it's just,
it's like Slade and Teen Titans.
Yeah. Well, also think too, it's like, because they're hiding him quite a bit, but also think about the fact that in the 90s series, they had Magneto front and center.
Mm-hmm. Like, because he was in like the third episode ever.
Yeah, like so he was featured quite like heavily throughout the whole show. So here's like, he's going to be a prominent presence, but let's focus on the younger side of the Brotherhood and then Mystique. Since she wasn't featured in the 90s show much, let's actually have her be the leader, but actually she's not. And she's still working for the guy that made her lose her son. And I love the fact that when she actually showed up with the X-Men at the Sanctuary, she goes right for Magneto. For him. Like, this is like pent up for decades. Probably even before Kurt was born, she was probably like really mad at Magneto the whole time.
When she
it was a little weird how he was using like those metal rods to try and fight her, and Toad was just catching them.
When she got out of the machine, she had her hair change. I was like, that's what the X-Men they just start with that hair. They don't.
Because that's how her hair was in the movies. Yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting too because I was saying that too when that happening where Magneto's throwing those metal rods and not being fair, and he's throwing different stuff at her. He can't physically fight her. No, he can't. He would lose that fight. That's why he made it to where the Sanctuary has plenty of metal to where he can defend himself because he can't physically take on Mystique or anybody. I mean, I bet even if Cyclops went against Magneto, he probably would have lost because Cyclops has learned hand-to-hand combat. Magneto has gotten off with his magnetism abilities, and that's it.
Well,
My favorite scene.
If that visor is metal, Cyclops is screwed.
That's true. It probably isn't, but that's true. I don't know because we didn't. Yeah.
My favorite scene was when Xavier escapes into the like a plane or whatever and flying, and Magneto tries to grab it and like metal. I'm like, I was like, boss hat.
Yeah. he did that. He did that knowing that if in case something happens, we have an alternative plan so that he can't pull it down.
There was one little detail I noticed about that scene. So if you look at the three that are captured alongside Xavier, that current roster of the X-Men at the time, Rogue, Jean, and Storm are the three most powerful people on that team, and they're the ones that are comatose.
Yeah, besides Wolverine, the problem with Wolverine, of course, is that he has adamantium that can easily be manipulated. We saw that.
Yeah, but in terms of like raw power, I'd say like those three are probably the
Cyclops' glasses, boom.
That's true.
That's
but
true.
I think the point about the reason why Scott wasn't put in because Magneto manipulated Alex to talk to Scott for that so that he didn't have to put him in the tube. But if you think about it, and it's a fair point, not only did they win their fights, but Jean is probably one of the most powerful mutants, but she doesn't know it yet.
Nope.
She hasn't figured that out. She also doesn't know about the Phoenix Force coming down the road at some point in her life. At some point, whether it's I don't think they cover it in the show as far as I'm aware, because I really don't know much about what the show does. But regardless, like that's coming down the road. Rogue, as we see, just even a tap. Like she just took a little spark when she fought Blob against when she took Cyclops' powers. All she did was a little and she's done. She made
the point that she can utilize multiple powers at once.
Oh yeah, like she was doing that in her introduction episode because she was having multiple powers. She was disappearing and using Storm's abilities. Mm-hmm. And Storm, she has pretty much like been presumably with her powers all her life, and she's an adult. We don't know how old she is, but presumably she's pretty old because she has a nephew who's a teenage boy. So the assumption is that she's been Storm for a long time, and she's probably unstoppable. And we saw how fast Rogue can easily manipulate because I forgot for that moment, and it's such a funny moment for me. I forgot that she took over Quicksilver's powers until she ran into the frame.
Like, runs up.
I'm like, what? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, what just happened?
And then whenever I did laugh when I think it was in the Mystique Nightcrawler episode, whenever Rogue takes Avalanche's powers and then she makes the face herself.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I want to ask 3W because since he's seen it more recently, in terms of like when you watch the show and you're kind of binging through it, how did you feel about the decision to have Mystique actually be the one to tell Kurt? Because I thought they were going to have some other way where Kurt's going to find out that's his mom, and it wasn't going to be through her, and it was going to make it even rougher. I felt it was the right choice. I don't know if they're actually going to be able to do this. What if someone else tells him first before she can?
I would have liked, because the one that knew was Charles Xavier.
Yeah.
I believe, and he literally said in one of the previous episodes that secrets, they need to tell each other, the truth and whatnot. And then he's holding on to the secret.
Yep.
And I'm like, no, you should tell him.
Yeah.
So I was like, this can go really good or really bad.
And it went as good as it could until it didn't, because of course the Brotherhood shows up. I liked in that moment Mystique was vulnerable. She showed up not in her Mystique uniform. She wasn't trying to manipulate anything. She was there as a mother trying her best, even though she is the enemy, to go, hey, I'm your mom. This is real. This is happening. Because I think that little scene with her and Professor X where he reveals to her, like, we know. And then as he's leaving, I want to let you know your son has turned out to be a fine young individual. That broke her because she doesn't know that. She didn't have that chance to even know that about him until Professor X told her.
Like a kind of like a pan to her emotion as she's looking outside the window, which you then feel that she's feeling sad.
Yeah, because she sees that little girl, being dropped off and saying like, "Hey, bye, mom." She's like, she kind of feels the fact that like she didn't really get that as a parent herself, so she's feeling sad about it.
And then the next minute, she's trying to be a bad again.
Yeah,
exactly. and that all just tees up to her wanting to take out Magneto as soon as she shows up at the sanctuary. Like it's all been building up to this moment because I don't know where we go in terms of the storyline after this season for her and Magneto, but
he does.
Oh, of course he does.
Yeah, but I know.
Yeah, but I'm just curious how they're going to handle it because, like, she's now fully went against him after all this time. So does that stick? Does she go back? I don't know. I don't know what you do because I feel like she's changed. Because obviously with that evolution, I don't know what happens. That also Andrew got a point. Remember when Magneto was slamming Professor X and everything? Yeah, he was like throwing him against the window and crap.
Oh yeah, I think it's the first time you actually heard his name.
Yeah, I think so.
I did, however, like their explanation of how he became crippled in the First Class.
Oh,
I actually like that one.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It's better than he was always that way.
I do like this dynamic too about him being protective of the younger X-Men. I agree.
Yeah,
100%. I like because even though he treats them, like crap. Yeah, at the same time, he's like, yeah.
Am I reading too loudly for you?
Like he's like the cranky uncle. Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah,
and you quite literally in some of his cases, the drunk uncle.
Yeah, pretty much.
Of course, they're not going to show things like that in a kid's show, but
just when she says, Nightcrawler will pop in at any moment. Pop.
Yep.
Yeah. She timed it so well, Well, it's also too. It's like Nightcrawler's also been he's been flirty. Like that whole scene where he's like trying to show off with his powers when they're flying in the
when he's outside the jet. Yeah.
Oh my god! I was like, dude, you're an idiot. You're an idiot.
Wolverine is just in the back. Kids.
Yeah. He's like thinking, like, why do we have kids here? Like, well,
I just imagine if during that Rogue introduction episode, whenever she's getting everybody's powers, imagine if she would have touched Wolverine.
And that would have been interesting.
I found it interesting that there is a limit on how far you can teleport, which is apparently 2 miles.
Well, for Nightcrawler, yeah. For somebody like Blink, it's almost endless.
Yeah, pretty much. I think we're gonna go for a few more minutes, guys, and we're gonna end down the stream because since it's a singular topic versus like the last couple streams where god we did the Snyder cut and then we did an extended BVS Ultimate Edition version.
We doubled that basically because that's just 3 hours. We went for 3.5.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. Let's see. I think so far the 90s series has covered the most groundwork in lore of the X-Men. Well, that's the thing. That X-Men show didn't have. Yeah. Well, also too, it's like it didn't have anything else to really base on because like I think with Wolverine and the X-Men, they were able to look at some of what the movies kind of did and go, let's see if we can kind of do it. And then it's like the 90s series. All they had was the comics. Yeah. They had nothing else. So they like, okay, let's just keep adapting. They literally just kept adapting popular storylines.
And with that show, you didn't have to spend a season building the team either. They were already established.
Right away.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't have to wait or whatever.
Which I think in the context of this show, I think it worked, but, it also, it was, I don't know, maybe it was easy for, us as kids to kind of, jump into, just like them already being an established team in the 90s.
Yeah.
I don't know,
we didn't care about character development.
No.
Yeah, no. We were just like, hey, we want to see, bright colors going across our screens.
Yes. Yeah.
So it makes you think maybe Joel Schumacher had a point with his Batman movies.
Well, that's true. However, he was going for Adam West, which, apparently shout out to you, Jake, for having the same poster.
Yeah.
I had Big Crisis over here.
I can see that. Okay.
And I got
so that's all the individual ones
X-Men.
Around it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have the original.
I created it myself.
Let's say where'd you get that at? Jesus.
I had all the posters and then I just combined them into a 24 by 36 frame.
That's cool.
And as you can see, there's the light and then the dark. I have all the poster the small solar posters around the
because I can see back there the Supergirl and Batwoman, which of course we know what happened to that. Because oh my god, we got a poster of them. They're building up their version of World's Finest, and
nope. So here's the question: do you have the Gotham Knights poster?
Yes.
No.
Get it?
Failure.
I will think of that.
Yeah, I'm.
If anything, I'm probably going to get the Two-Face one because that looked cool.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to have my own room.
Oh, I think I know what one of your answers is going to be to this question down here.
What?
That's how the show did Avalanche.
Oh, how are you guys liking the shows for eventually? But
sorry, I just had to.
I think it's interesting because of because as people pointed out, and I didn't remember it, but the guy really wasn't handled well in the comics for the most part.
No.
And I like the fact that he's connected to Kitty because Kitty was just experienced her powers for the first time as far as she could remember. And you have a guy but how long has he been controlling his powers? Who knows? Yeah. But he clearly knows how to control them because he does it efficiently. But and I liked it.
Yeah. When you think about it, in that first season, each Brotherhood member that got brought in, they were used alongside the introductory X-Men of the same episode. So it's like they all have personal rivalries. You have Quicksilver and Spyke, and this one's not really a rivalry, but you have Shadowcat and Avalanche. Rogue, I guess you could argue, is Mystique's, and then Nightcrawler and Toad. So
I was thinking that when you were talking about that, I was like, oh yeah, because that wasn't the first episode. Because Scott was the one who saved Toad from getting his ass handed to him under the bleachers.
Yeah.
And then that's because of the propane tank explosion, which have we seen Professor X use his powers like that again after the pilot where he can manipulate someone's mind to say something? I don't remember.
I don't think at this point you have. I mean, you saw him knock out Kane with those psychic blasts.
Yeah.
And you saw him knock out Juggernaut when he. I didn't know that helmet was Magneto.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were made of the same material, like blocking out sonic waves.
Oh, well, Juggernaut has that to keep Professor X out of his mind.
Well, I think he messed with our minds in the Juggernaut episode with the whole Wolverine mask blunder.
Oh yeah, that was that continuity disaster. I don't know how that got passed, but any final thoughts on the show?
I will say I've seen Toad with all new blinders on because I have never actually seen where he comes from and how he acts, and personally, all I've seen is Snake Eyes and Darth Maul portraying him in X-Men.
I like, as far as what you've seen, I really liked the first season. I think it was a good establishing one. I will say from here on out, in season 2, and especially I think 3 and 4, the storytelling gets a lot better.
Okay.
And there was one thing that we were asked before we sign up here. I can't pronounce the name.
Stop different language. Juliet,
what is it? Oh, I have the out of 5 veteran 5 X-Men.
Yeah.
Is that the one you were talking about?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, final question is, out of the original veteran 5...
It's Toad on the window, and Juliet's trying to get him.
Oh my gosh. So the final question, out of all the 5 original Veteran X-Men, Angel, Jean, Cyclops, Beast, Iceman, who's your favorite? I would say Cyclops. Iceman's a close second, though. I've always liked Iceman.
Iceman. Not that he was from Smallville, but
of course.
That was his twin in Smallville, wasn't it?
No,
Yeah.
they both were in Smallville.
Oh, okay.
Both twins.
I'd say mine is probably a tie between Cyclops and Iceman as well. And I do really like Beast actually.
Yeah, I like Beast too. Yeah.
And then Angel, I mean, he's a fine character, but he just needs better adaptations.
Got the short end of the wing, if you want to say, in X-Men 3.
And Apocalypse.
Yeah, he was heavily in the promotional material for X-Men 3, like wearing the X suit and everything, and he doesn't join the X-Men.
Nope.
Apocalypse is more character development for him.
He was just really bad in both.
He was just kind of there, and they made him Archangel, and that was it. Yep. It's like, and he's done. Like here, same thing with Olivia Wilde.
That doesn't make any sense though, because Angel,
Olivia Munn,
Angel has like white feather wings, right, and no like Archangel whatsoever. But they're tapping into the past in Apocalypse, and he's Archangel. How does that even make sense?
Well, after Days of Future Past, you got to remember everything changed. So
everything changed. Yeah, the whole timeline shifted.
That could have happened.
Should we do X-Men 1, 2, 3?
That could have happened earlier.
Yeah, it's just confusing. But I want to thank 3W and Jake. I want to say Joypat. What's Joypat, Jake? Whatever. Thank you both for being here, hanging out for this stream. Don't know what's happening because I did get reached out on email about maybe doing something with a fan project, maybe. So that might be the thing.
I was gonna say you're reacting to Spider-Man Lotus.
No, but it is a Spider-Man fan project. That's not that. That reached out, and so we'll see. I gotta talk to my co-host who did not call me when I told him to call me. I need to
sleeping.
Obviously.
Probably. Well, he didn't respond. He hours ago after I said, "Hey, call me when you can," because I got this email and I've been replying back and forth, and I need to know. And he's like, "I just woke up. What's going on?" And I try to call him, no answer. I'm like, "I need to talk to you because I need to tell you that there's this email. This producer, I'm not sure what else he is, and also the actual lead actor of Spider-Man wants to be on my podcast, and I'm assuming they mean Endless Multiverse. And I need to know because it's going to be a different day than Friday to do this stream with them to kind of talk about the project. And so I don't know. But anyways, it's been fun talking season 1. Maybe we'll do this for season 2. Who knows what's happening? But it was fun to talk something a little bit different.
Season 2 has a lot more episodes.
How many episodes in season 2?
I think 50.
50?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that's true.
No. I think, if I remember correctly, I think the first 3 seasons are around 13 episodes, and I think the last one has like 10.
Okay, let me look it up. X-Men Evolution.
17 episodes for season 2.
List of episodes.
Oh yeah, that's
17.
Right.
That's
17.
weird. And then 9 for 4th and 13 for 3. So, but yeah, maybe we'll do another stream because maybe by then I'll be in my own room, and I won't have to be in the living room. My wife's in the bedroom. So, but yes, we can do this again.
Yeah.
For season 2, whenever we get to that point, and then
whatever you feel like bringing us on for in the meantime.
Well, I mean, yeah, because I mean, depending on if everything goes through, I mean, who knows? I mean, it's just random streams off the cuff. My wife's like, yeah, once we get your own room, you can do whatever the fuck you want. She's like, because she even mentioned too, because like in this multiverse is like,
did she actually say do whatever the fuck you want?
Well, the point was like, I have more freedom to kind of just because I'm out of the way. I'm not like taking over the living room. I'm in my own room away from her. Do whatever you want. But she also made the point like, because I was telling her like me and Andy have talked about potentially making in this multiverse a different day of the week, not just Friday, because Friday seems like it's harder for people on time. And then she's like, well, if there's breaking news, you can just go live that night. You don't have to wait till Friday. Like that's a fair point. Like if something's breaking news, we can just, or it doesn't be in this multiverse. If some breaking news happens, let's say like a trailer drops for like Deadpool 3, that night we could just I could just hop on and get, hey, anybody want to jump into the stream? We're gonna talk Deadpool 3 trailer. Come on, hang out if you're
not
available.
Gonna lie, I literally thought you meant a trailer.
Just a trailer.
Just a trailer drops.
A trailer drops. Just drops. We can just go live.
That'd be hilarious. It'd be hilarious if we were to go on Marvel's page right now or like Fox right now, and then boom, it drops.
Trailer drop. Even though the film's not done filming, they're delaying it. Who cares?
They can't promote anything right now.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, we'll figure it out. But thank you once again to 3W and Jake for hanging out, talking season 1, and yeah,
and X-Men movies.
Oh, yeah, X-Men Evolution. Go watch the show.
Like we're done with the talking at 6 minutes. So
X-Men
I was like,
X-Men of the Evolution variety.
Yes. Bye, everybody. Have a great rest of your week. Bye, everybody.